Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Talos of Tech live on Twitch. Thank you, Cyber Octoling, for 24 months of Twitch Prime. And yes, I thought you hit 24 months already as well. But either way, I appreciate you twice as much. Thanks for tuning in. The Apple Watch Series 6, I've been rocking it for 2 days now. And yes, to answer all of your questions, I am keeping it. I am very happy with the color. And yes, it has everything to do with the color and the finish. Um, very little to do with the features the Series 6 offers as a whole because I've measured my blood oxygen multiple times and it's been pretty much always 98, 99, 100. It's always in the high numbers, so I can't say it's been super useful. Same with the always on display. It's as useless as I can remember it. Whoa, Krista White's got everyone beat though. She subscribed with the tier 1 for 26 months. Holy cow. I didn't know anyone was doing it for that long. But thank you, Krista, very much. Thank you. I keep forgetting it's there. That's the weird thing I wanted to say about the always on display. I keep forgetting it has it. I will always like check back at my watch and be like, oh yeah, the screen doesn't turn off. That's right. There's never been a situation where I'm like, see, that's why I need always on displays because normally the screen would be off right now. It's like I don't even notice it. It's just always there. Um, and sometimes I notice it a lot when I'm editing videos because normally I'm waving my hands around or talking on camera and the screen is typically off when I'm talking, but now it's on every time. What's my current watch face? What is it called? It's called Modular Compact. Man, I should have a better way of zooming in on this. We need a watch cam real quick. I could like zoom in and focus on this. But the amount of customization there is in WatchOS 7 is insane. There was this one watch face, the stripes one, that I was messing around with. I believe that's just a WatchOS 7 feature. I don't believe it's exclusive to the Series 6. Um, but the amount of customization you can give to the stripes watch face is insane. You can decide how many stripes you want. You can go between 2 to 9 stripes. You can change the color of each stripe. You can change the angle of each stripe, and there's like tons of different angles to choose from, tons of different colors to choose from. So the combinations are pretty much endless. Um, for aesthetically pleasing shots, I would use this watch face, but I wouldn't use it for my daily use just because there's not very much information on it. Whereas this is a lot more useful, and I can see a lot more data on that. But yeah, it's been great. I've loved it. I love to look at it, and sadly, that's about as far as the Series 6 compliments go. Everything they've added functionally has felt fairly unnoticeable, unchanged with my day to day use. But aesthetically, it's been very nice. And battery life has been good. Let's see. Chris Otham, thank you for the Twitch Prime for 4 months. My Series 4 has 85% battery health now, but I think I'd rather just pay the $80 for a battery replacement than get a new watch. Yeah, I don't feel like. Oh, that's Krista. Hey, Krista's in the chat. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't even think you need to spend the money to replace the battery unless it's not getting you through the day. I mean, my Series 4 was at like 89% battery health, and I feel like it would still last me 2 days pretty easily. My first full day with the Series 6, it ended at around 65, 70%, and that was with the always on display. So obviously, much better battery life than what I first experienced with the Series 5 when I first got that. Um, though that could have been a WatchOS bug, I don't know. But with this, at least, day one out of the box, battery life has been just as good as my Series 4, if anything, a little bit better, and that's with the always on display. So I have no complaints when it comes to battery health. It was a WatchOS bug, right? The Series 6 has fast charging. Yeah, I know, but I will never notice. I really won't because uh, my watch charges when I go to bed and it sits on the charger all night. So whether it finishes at midnight or 1 a.m. doesn't really matter to me. If anything, I would say they should charge it slower to help preserve the battery. I don't really need it to charge up that fast. Yeah, I'm hoping the glass doesn't get too scratched up. I'm wondering if maybe I just need to look past that and be like, you know what, Drew, you shouldn't spend extra money or you shouldn't be so paranoid on new tech just because it might get a little scratched up. Because honestly, like my iPhone will collect little scratches like that over the years too. And under certain lighting I can see it, but maybe I need to learn to just be more content with what I have at the end of the day. Yes, Dinosaur, I'm keeping it. I'm telling you, the Ion X glass on the Series 5 has been amazing. Yeah, but you're like the only guy to say that, though. Once I brought up the scratches, everyone else in the chat was like, "Yep, mine's scratched up a lot too. It looks really bad." No, I don't want to buy Apple Care. That defeats the purpose. I thought about getting a screen protector, but I haven't done it yet. Maybe I should just take better care of my stuff. That's the approach I'm having so far. You also kind of baby it. Yeah, I should probably baby mine as well. It's still making 1 day, but I miss getting 2 days. Okay. So yeah, if you wanted Krista, if you wanted your watch to easily last 2 days, I guess $80 is a lot cheaper than a brand new watch. I have sold the Series 4. It is sold. It's not for sale. It has been claimed. It has been purchased. It's gone. Don't defeat the poipus. Right. But the one thing I will say, after 3 generations, it's been 2018 when they first introduced this design language. After unboxing and trying out Apple Watches for the past, 2018, 2019, and now 2020, it's kind of 3 years in a way. Um, I'm ready for an updated design. I'm kind of sick of, I'm really, really going to be disappointed if the Series 7 is just this again. I think we're due. I think we're due for a design uptick, like a thinner bezel treatment or a different look of some kind. I don't want the watch bands to need to change. I'm okay with reusing the old watch bands, and I'm okay with it being square. I'm just saying they got to do something with this thing, maybe to make it look more like the new iPhones coming out, or at least shrinking down these bezels in some way. But I think 3 years for this watch design is good. We can update it though. We went in opposite directions. I went from aluminum to stainless steel. Yeah. I guess you just kind of get used to certain colors and certain finishes after a certain amount of time, and then after a while, you're just ready for something new. You're ready for something different, and as soon as you find something different, it's actually really refreshing, because I recall having the Series 4 all these years, and then looking at someone with an aluminum Apple Watch Series 4 or 5 in the silver color and being like, man, that looks really good, though. Um, Same with iPhones. I used to always get the space gray one, but then I started seeing the silver ones, and I was like, wow, that looks really cool. And so then I get the silver ones, and then I see someone with the space gray one, and I'm like, well, that looks really cool too. So I think a lot of the time, you will naturally have a draw to one that is different or contrasts the one you're used to. So it doesn't matter really which one you get. I'm okay with just mixing it up a bit, just swapping it. Um, no, I would hate it if they changed the watch band connector. I hope they never change the watch band connector. Have you messed with the custom app icons on iOS 14? I put the Big Sur icons on my phone and it looks so good. I haven't, because is that the one where you have to make a Siri shortcut, and then when you open the app, it opens Siri shortcut and then jumps to the other app? Because I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. Just buy both colors. Yeah, that's a great idea. Very financially wise. How's the compass? Never used the compass once. Forgot it even had that. Thank you, Krista, for the 100 bits. Appreciate that. Thank you. Um, Green watch when? Yeah, when are we getting a green watch? Come on. They're going to change it one day. It's Apple. They are, which is why I'm not investing a ton into watch bands. If anything, I'll probably end up selling the watch band that came with this one, because I've had this red sport band since 2016, and I just decided, because I like these bands more than the Velcro ones, and I have not opened. Is it back there? I have not opened the watch band that my Series 6 came with. So it's mint in box, so I could probably get, 40, $30 off of that. And the more watch bands you have, the less you use each of them. So it's one thing to be like, oh, I want to get a new watch band, I want to collect more watches, but the truth is, the more watch bands you have, you can only wear one at a time, unless you're the type of person to wear two Apple Watches, which, let's not go there. Yeah, I have not been convinced. My opinions on the always on display have not changed. There's been a lot of situations where it just annoys me, because um, I feel like it's sitting there staring at me when I'm not using it, and I'm like, hey, why are we using battery right now? This is a device that needs to be charged pretty much once every other day, and right now you're still displaying information even though I'm not looking at you. Like, this kind of thing bothers me. When I'm filming myself and I can see the screen on, I'm like, you don't need to be there. And it also comes from me really liking the look of a watch without the display on. Like when it turns off and it's just a clean slab of glass that only turns on when you need it to. I don't know. That just looks cool to me. I want to go into settings and turn it off for a second. Just for a second. I'll turn it back on. Ooh. See that look? I just love the way it's so simple, it's so basic. There's no scattering, and then when I need it to, bonk, lights back up, and then it turns off. I like that. And also, a lot of the time, what I did with my Series 4 was I would just scroll the digital crown like this, and the display would wake up and go back to sleep. And with always on display, it doesn't really do that because it's always on. Do I think the Apple Watch peaked too early? I have a video that addresses that exact question. You should check it out. Basically, no, it peaked, but in a reasonable amount of time. No, I don't think I'm going to keep the Z Fold 2 5G. I'm using it every day. I'm trying to get lots of screen on time with it, but I don't plan on keeping it. Way too expensive. And I feel like a lot of people... I would love to see the return rate on the Z Fold 2. How many people buy one and send it back? Because I see online a lot of people saying they do that. What's funny is that the iPhones being delayed has resulted in so many leaks. Don't remember the last time the official cases leaked. Really? I remember that last year. We saw the cases of the 11 and 11 Pro Max. I remember that. I thought I was going to hate Always On, but I actually really like it, but that may just because it's a way for superficial me to show everyone I have a newer Apple Watch. I think that's it, Scott. I think you're onto something there. Remove the screen protector live? No. I don't trust myself, and I don't want Samsung to get mad at me if I try to return this. And they're like, why did you remove the screen protector? I'll be like, I don't know. You told me not to, but I did it anyway. Oh, well. They made it close to perfect. I'm kind of interested of what they could make next year. It needs a newer design, in my opinion. Go bigger with the screen. In my opinion, updating the screen is like the biggest thing you can do with the Apple Watch at this point. Making it larger, making the bezels shrink down further, maybe making the top of the device flat. You know, the edges can be rounded off, but if the top wasn't the 2.5D glass and the display went more and more to the edge where the aluminum is, I don't know. I could get behind a bigger screen because if they just come out with more health features, I don't know. I guess the only way I'll upgrade is if someone buys my old watch for a really good deal to the point that, you know, I did not have to pay any money for this. My Series 4 being sold covered the price of this. So it's just a free swap out to a new watch. And no, I've not done any sleep tracking. Most things they can add are just more health sensors. I don't care much about the health sensors, to be honest. Like iPad Pro design, not exactly, because I don't think they need to square off the entire chassis. I think just the top part, maybe. Kind of like, you know what a good example would be? Kind of like the chassis of the iPod Touch, or the chassis of the iPad Air 3, or the budget iPad. That's a better example. Like the budget iPad. It has flat glass on the top, but the bottom is still rounded off. And the edges are still pretty curved. So that type of design on an Apple Watch, maybe, so that the display can get pushed further to the edges. I don't know. There's been no rumors on the iPad Air buy date, so no, I got nothing there. Let's see. Don't do the built-in sleep tracking. It sucks. If you want to track your sleep, watch much more information for free. I don't want to track my sleep. We've talked about this so many times. I have tracked my sleep before. The information was not useful, and I didn't know what to do with it. And it was long-term. I tracked it for like 3 or 4 months, and I just realized the data was useless. No, I don't want a circular Apple Watch, personally. If the Series 7 is a redesign, will you buy it and keep it? Probably, but I would likely still sell this. I don't have much of a desire to keep my current Apple Watch and buy another one and just have an old one. You know, I would probably try to offset the cost of the new one with this one. You're meant to charge it when you're sleeping. Yeah, until now. Now they're telling you to like charge it when you first wake up or something, because they want you to do sleep tracking. That's a good milestone, Michael. Yeah. If they add a camera to the watch, it means they have completely given up. Oh, another thing I was really hoping for that I keep bringing up each year is Qi charging support, which I don't know why they still can't make that work. I think it has something to do with the amount of sensors they've put, and the circular puck that the Apple Watch charges with is a much smaller coil than what Qi is compatible with. So, yeah, they can bring Qi charging to AirPods, but those don't have a bunch of health and heart rate sensors on them, where the Apple Watch does. So, it might be more difficult to add Qi charging to the Apple Watch than we think. But if they're looking at things to do on the list, what can we do to the next Apple Watch? Qi charging, I would appreciate that one. So we could just drop it on the same charger that we drop our AirPods and our iPhones on. That'd be kind of nice. It wouldn't be like a time to upgrade my watch type upgrade, but it would be appreciated. I would like that. And a camera, I used to say, Apple Watch doesn't need a camera. They'll never add a camera. And while I agree with the former, the Apple Watch does not need a camera. I will reinstate that. Um, I'm not. I would not be shocked to find out that that's something they're working on, or I would not be surprised if Apple decides one year, you know what, let's add a camera because we don't know what else to do at this point. Like, I get it. Does the Apple Watch SE come with the USB-C to Apple Watch charge cable? I'm guessing no, because the regular Series 6 didn't come with the USB-C to Apple Watch charge cable. So no, it's still all USB-A. There are a lot of people who want speakers. It has speakers. They're good for short little quick conversations, but they're not good for listening to music. They could technically play audio if you wanted them to, but it would sound awful. Um, I cannot find any content with spatial audio. Well, that's because you gotta subscribe to Apple TV Plus. Watch Greyhound with spatial audio. That's all it's good for. Just Greyhound. Slow fee for Apple Watch. Big stonks. As soon as we get slow fees on the Apple Watch, we will see Apple hit $3 trillion market cap. Yeah, there were a lot of leakers wrong saying there would be mental health features for the Series 6. That's true. I guess they can make the display larger. There's room. If you're looking at the sides of the display, it's easy when you use a full screen watch face. I mean, the bezels are pretty thin, much, much thinner compared to the Series 3. But at the same time, there's room. You could go slimmer. I could totally see it. It's possible. My iPhone boxes are upside down? What? Oh my god, you're right. We have to fix this right now. Oh. Problem solved. Don't worry about it. Imagine them putting high refresh rate on the Apple Watch before the iPhones. No. How could that? That would just be spitting in the face. I mean, they do have LTPO OLED. They got that before the iPhones did. They just go 60 hertz to 1 hertz. Literally down to 1 hertz. Like, bam. Ouch. 1 hertz. So, I guess if they got really bored, yeah, they could do ProMotion on the Apple Watch. How slim do you want to go? Until I want the bezel to get as slim to the point that you can't even see the sides of the device. The display is just full screen to the max. Like, how close can you push the pixels to the aluminum is my question. Get thinner, get thinner, get thinner, get thinner. Push it all the way to the edge. Just give me the biggest display possible without, foldable technology. Don't do that. Yes, I know. I need 120 hertz for them iMessage animations. Not that it's useful. I'm just saying it would. They're running out of things to add very quickly. Would you recommend I get AirPods Pro now? I've had the first gen AirPods for 2.5 years and want to upgrade to the Pros. Should I wait and see or just bite the bullet? I don't think there's new AirPods Pro coming soon. I don't think there's any updates planned. AirPods don't appear to be something Apple updates annually. I'm sure that someday there will be a second generation AirPods Pro, but I really don't get what they would do. Maybe just better battery life or something. But personally, I think AirPods Pro are going to be pretty much the same as they are now for the foreseeable future. The soonest situation we would see AirPods Pro 2 probably end of next year. So if you're willing to wait that long, I guess. But I don't think there's anything wrong with buying it now. There's not rumored to be anything really to replace it soon, or a price drop or anything. What do you think of the rumored iPhone 12 mini name? It's good. I didn't think they would bring mini to the iPhone lineup because it implies that one is like lesser or, smaller, and they would rather it be looked at as flagship and cool. But no, it's mini makes sense. I think that's a good name. It involves less syllables, which I'm all in favor of. It means it's very easy to just refer to iPhone 12 mini, iPhone 12, 12 Pro, 12 Pro Max. It's just fairly simple. Pro Max being the biggest one, and I'm not saying it's the best naming scheme ever, but it could have been much worse. I'll give it that. When is the next iPad Pro? Donated 20 bits from Gabergen. So I think some people were misinterpreting Kuo's report. In case you weren't aware, Meng-Chi Kuo claimed that mini LED displays for the iPad Pro were going into production in Q4 of this year. Some people took that and ran with it, saying that means the iPad Pro is coming out in Q4 of this year. But that's not how I read it. I read a few other journalism sites that were just saying the production of the displays was starting in Q4. That doesn't mean that the iPad is actually launching in Q4. I could be wrong. Maybe they are trying to launch the iPad Pro this year again, twice in 1 year, but that doesn't sound like Apple. I'm not obviously very good at predicting these things. I've gotten a lot wrong. I acknowledge that, so full disclosure. But if you're asking me personally, I would say next iPad Pro is probably going to be March or June of 2021. I don't think we're going to get another one this year. And also, the report, it's also worth mentioning that the mini LED displays they're working on putting in the iPad Pros, as of now, they're only for the 12.9-inch model. So if you're interested in new iPad Pros and you're wanting to get the 11-inch model, the leaks that we're hearing from supply chains are not referring to an 11-inch iPad Pro getting mini LED. Right now, all the rumors are just for the bigger 12.9-inch iPad Pro. So maybe they're working on updating just the big iPad Pro. I don't know. That seems kind of weird. I don't know, but to me, it seems more likely, because Kuo oftentimes will say something is coming sooner than it is. He did this exact same thing last year. They were saying, in 2019, they were saying the triple camera iPad Pro, the one with the ultra-wide lens and the one with the LiDAR sensor, they were saying that was going to come out in October. Obviously, it didn't come out until March. So sometimes these analysts and supply chains will think things are coming sooner than they are. So I would say March or June. March at the soonest, but if Drew keeps up his very inconsistent track record, then who knows? Maybe we'll get another one by the end of this year, in which case that'd be kind of interesting. What if they drop the 11-inch Pro and just have the Air? That would be interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't like that. I think there's a lot of people that like the iPad Pro at the smaller footprint. I'm not in favor of that, but it would be somewhat interesting to see them be like, okay, only the Pro gets the big screen, and then if you want a smaller screen, you got to settle with 60 hertz, you got to settle with the thicker bezels, you got to settle with Touch ID. Yeah, that would upset a lot of people. I hope they don't do that. We need 8K on the next Apple Watch. Right? That would make such a big difference. Do you think we will see a graphite iPhone 12? Maybe. I don't know. Possibly. Yeah. I mean, if they're willing to update the stainless steel... Wait, is stainless steel silver and stainless steel graphite separate on the Apple Watch store? If so, I don't know. I mean, we saw Apple last year make stainless steel for the iPhone, but not the Apple Watch. But they never quite did just for the watch and not the iPhone. Let's see. Given graphite was replacing black stainless. Oh, it did? They might. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm really stuck on whether I should get the Air or the Pro. I would say the Pro is worth the extra money, personally, if you were asking me. If you're spending $600 plus on an iPad, just opt for the Pro at that point. Work a little harder, but at the same time, I guess everyone's worried now. But aren't there new iPad Pros coming? So, yeah. I don't know. Best case scenario, in my opinion, is for you to find a certified refurbished 2018 iPad Pro. That's still the best deal, in my opinion. $550 for Face ID, 120 hertz. Ooh, that's so much better. Let's see. How often do you think the Apple Silicon Macs will be upgraded? Annually would be kind of weird in my opinion because they're PCs. Um, yeah, I guess iPad Pros don't get updated annually. It's kind of every 18 months. It's not quite 2 years. So they might do something like that with the Apple Silicon Macs. My first impression would be that they do it annually because right now it feels like they will do tiny spec upgrades and they'll update the 15-inch MacBook Pro like twice in 1 year, or the 13-inch MacBook Pro they'll update twice in 1 year. So moving to Apple Silicon, they probably won't have to do it twice a year, but if they update them frequently, that would be once a year, and then if they model it more off the iPad Pro, then yeah, it would be like once every 18 months, I think. Wow, Mike, thank you for the Twitch Prime for 3 months. 90 days, it's flown by. I feel like they might do an unusual iPad that is bigger than the normal with mini LED. Oh, that would be cool. But as long as it's still compatible with the Magic Keyboard case. They found a way to shrink the iPad Pro bezels even more with really good palm rejection. That could be cool. That's just the one thing I'm annoyed by. I would hate it if Apple started selling $300, $350 Magic Keyboard cases and then started launching new iPad Pros that weren't compatible with those cases. That would drive me nuts. Like, we dropped all this money on these keyboard cases, and now we're going to have to buy all new ones all over again. No, thank you. No, thank you. Let's say they changed the display and made it slimmer. What's after that? It's already peaked. We've reached the point. We're just in the nitpicky field of Apple Watch upgrades at this point. We're kind of in that same realm with iPhones now. Everything's getting into the real nitpicky stage of they could do this, they could do this. Apple's running out of things to change. Every iPad should be able to use the Magic Keyboard, in my opinion. Well, they probably like to get to that point. It's just a certain. Um, uh, they can't build a device like the iPad Air cheap enough. If you were to say that every iPad should be able to use the Magic Keyboard, then they would have to stop selling things like the iPad Mini and the budget iPad, which they have keyboards, the Folio keyboards, but eventually they probably want to get to the point, with the exception of the iPad Mini, that every keyboard can use the Magic one. Series 4 or Apple Watch SE, whichever ends up being cheaper, I would say. If you're able to get a refurbished Series 4 for under $280, then that's the better deal, but Apple Watch SE is a pretty dang good bargain. I would recommend that to most people if you're thinking about upgrading. Only people I would recommend the Series 6 to is like, can you sell your old Apple Watch for a really good price to the point that the Series 6 barely costs anything? That's the only situation in which I'd be like, yeah, Series 6 is fine. Why you like Apple so much? Apple doesn't care about you. They never send you anything. Here's an iPhone to our number one fan. So is that your definition? Why do you care about me? I've never sent you anything. Lovelace 2002. Yet here you are watching me. Are we only supposed to care about companies that send us free products? I like Apple because they make products I enjoy. And I think that's how most people like products, is they find the ones they like and then they keep buying from that brand because they've had enjoyable experiences with them in the past. I wouldn't wear a refurbished Apple Watch. Apple certified refurbished is really good. It doesn't look used at all. It'll look brand new other than the box. I've bought certified refurbished from Apple before. I can highly recommend it. They replace a lot of the components. Sometimes they'll replace the glass and the battery on the inside. They polish it up, make it look brand new, and they give you really good deals on stuff. So I would highly recommend it. One bit. Is it worth it to replace my Apple Watch to a Series 6? I have a Series 4. I wouldn't stress it. I think anyone with a Series 4 or higher shouldn't worry about the SE or the Series 6. I don't think there's anything to dwell on. Um, Again, the only reason I've got the Series 6 is because someone offered me a really good deal on my Series 4, so it didn't, in the end, it didn't really end up costing me anything. Imagine if your iPhone 11 trade-in covered the price of your iPhone 12. Of course, everyone would do it. There would be no downside. Apple certified refurbished is very safe. I would trust it. Yeah. Scott got his MacBook Air from there. Other than the packaging, it's almost indiscernible from brand new. You wouldn't be able to notice if they put it in the original box with the normal. The only difference with certified refurbished that's noticeable is that the box doesn't have like a picture of the device on it. So if you were to order an iPhone certified refurbished, it's just a blank white box. But the phone itself, couldn't even tell it's refurbished. It would look like a brand new phone. Mike says, Drew still owe me $10 with a week or more of interest. When did this happen? When did I start owing you money? What did I do? I don't know what I did. When did I promise him something? Let's see. I do regret buying a brand new Apple TV over refurbished last year. That was the first certified refurbished thing I got from Apple was my Apple TV. And it was perfect condition. It looked great. Who are all these people I owe money to? It's me, of all people, we're worried about. Thoughts on the S20 Fan Edition? It's a good deal, but it should have been released back in February. Yeah, I briefly saw the specs of it. It looks fine. It looks good. There's not really much to talk about. It's just a good deal. If it existed back in February, no one would have bought the S20. That's the problem. S20 FE is like, oh, this is what it should have costed. This is what we should have done. At some point, they should release an iPhone every 2 years. They'll lose too much money. And you're also not considering that not everyone upgrades every year. So just because the iPhone 12s won't be a major upgrade from the iPhone 12, you got to remember there's still a lot of people rocking the iPhone 10 or 8 or 7, and those people don't care that the 12s was minor over the 12. If it has any type of advantage, even if it is slight, they would rather have the later one. I said I was buying all of you Tesla semis. I don't remember that. Someone should create a deepfake video with machine learning of my voice and my face and recreate that. I charged you for my free message on the internet. But if it was free, how do I owe you money? That don't make sense. The discussion on free news. I charged you for my free message. Didn't Wozniak invent the computer for home use? And if it wasn't for him, none of us would be here. I think you should interview him. Yeah, I'll get Wozniak on the show real quick. And no, he did not invent the computer. He made some computers, but he did not invent it. If you had to choose your second Apple product, you only have an iPhone, and you have to choose between AirPods or Apple Watch, which one would you take? Probably the Apple Watch. I feel like AirPods are something you use occasionally, whereas the Apple Watch I use more frequently throughout the day. That's just me personally. I don't, from my Apple Music video that I don't listen to music as much anymore. And the iPhone technically does come with headphones, whereas it doesn't come with an Apple Watch. So AirPods are nice. I love AirPods, but if I had to choose one, I would take the watch. You guys are making this up. I didn't say I'd give you squat. I was going to just give away my full two. Yeah, right. I doubt I ever said that because I would never do that. Let's see. S20 Fan Edition. The Taylosiv Wozniak interview. When can you ask him what Jobs would think of Apple today? Isn't that what everyone asks Wozniak in like every interview ever? I've seen him answer that question like 90 different ways. Every time people ask, Steve Wozniak, what do you think of Steve? What would Steve Jobs think of that? Like, you're clearly someone who would understand what Steve Jobs would think of something, even though he's been dead for 9 years. Answer that. And Wozniak's just like, he'd probably be pretty happy with it, I guess. That'd be it. A Michael never forgets his dads. Aren't you in debt? You said you'd buy my HomePods. We're going to make peace with this in a few weeks here. I don't even think you can say he invented the computer for home use. He didn't really make it for something everyone else could do. He just kind of made it for himself. Steve Jobs was the one that was like, hey, we should try selling this. Ask Woz how he's doing, what his favorite color is, how many iPhones he's owned. That'd be a good question. Sit down with Wozniak and ask him things completely unrelated from Apple. What's your favorite movie? Favorite Android phone? What memberships do you pay for? Who's your favorite car company? The first, my cover has been blown. Where's the Talos of Talks? What do you mean? I uploaded a vlog yesterday, and there'll be another vlog tomorrow. Y'all gotta look before you ask. I feel lost without my Apple Watch. It does feel weird. You'll get used to it very quickly, in my opinion. Wozniak also said Apple should make an Android phone. He did? When did he say that? Oh, back with the iPhone 6? I want to see that interview. I mean, there's a reason Woz didn't make Apple. He was pivotal to the beginning, but there's a reason he left, and he never really had that much authority at the company in the first place. Woz probably would like the Surface Duo, to be fair. He was more of the geek. He was more of the nerd who liked fixing things and opening up and setting them up himself. Whereas Jobs was the one with the vision of like making a product that just simply worked and you didn't have to think about it. That wasn't really Woz's thing. Like he built his own watch. But he probably wears an Apple Watch now. How's WatchOS stability for me? It's been great. I can't complain. I haven't had any bugs. It's been working flawlessly so far. Oh yeah, there's no beta anymore. I'm on the public release. I forgot about that. Just going from my Series 4 on the beta to my Series 6. When will the Tailosive finally show up to the talk with Drew? What do you mean? I don't get that. What do you think of Marquez's video about Porsche Taycan? It was good. It was pretty fun. I think that it's really easy for people who aren't in the market for the Taycan to say they prefer the Taycan. Does that make sense? I notice a lot of people defending it and saying, oh, range doesn't matter that much, or yeah, I don't really care that much about autopilot or Tesla's supercharger network. What matters more is the build quality and the finish and the handling and stuff like that. When you're not in the market for a car, I think it's really easy to say one car does something better than the other, but when it comes to someone who actually has the money and is willing to buy one, that's when the discussion gets a lot harder. It was a little clickbaity to say, I almost switched. I doubt that, personally. I think Marquez was set on Tesla from the beginning. He just doesn't want to get accused of being a Tesla fanboy, so he obviously wants to give as many car companies. I mean, he did a sponsored video for like a gas-powered Buick. I mean, you could you could get him to consider any car to have somewhat good tech and some interesting things in it. Not to say that the Taycan is bad, in my opinion. I just think that it doesn't really do much for the EV community. It just proves that Porsche knows how to make an electric car. It's good at being a Porsche, I'll give it that. It looks good, it's fast, and it's well built, but efficiency-wise, it's pretty dang terrible, and price-wise, it's really up there. So, if we're trying to convince the world, like, Porsche has such a different vision at this point. They're like, we can make luxury and high-priced vehicles that are also electric. It's like, okay, so rich people can drive electric cars. You know, they're kind of proving a point we already knew. Yes, you can have really compelling electric cars that are expensive, but I feel like in 2020, most people are interested in, okay, like, yeah, we know you can make compelling, expensive electric cars, but will they be able to replace gas cars? Can you make them cheaper and have good range? And can you scale production of them to be that, like, in my opinion, Tesla's drive is all about, like, how do we make electric cars everything? How do we make them take over? How do we cause the extinction of the internal combustion engine? Because we need to accelerate sustainable energy. So, in my opinion, that direction is much more noble and is a much bigger deal than the Taycan, which is like, hey, build quality, and the materials of the Tesla aren't the ones I like. In my opinion, as someone who drives a dumb, cheap car, I've never been in a Tesla interior and thought it was poorly made. Any Tesla I've been in felt great. The acceleration was awesome. The build quality was awesome. And interior and design is extremely subjective, which is why I think it's stupid for Tesla to tackle that and act like it's an objective thing. you will never have objectively the best interior. It's just a matter of what demographic, what market you want to appeal to. Tesla has decided to go with the minimalistic, clean looking, all emphasis on the software, not so much knobs and dials, and they want to go more towards the touch interface. Personally, in my opinion, that's the best interior, the one that has the best software and the one that has the cleanest interior and the biggest display, not the most knobs and the most dials and the most like all the other cars I've looked at outside of Tesla just have too much going on. They're too busy. Like my ideal vehicle interior is the Cybertruck because it's just so simple and everything is done on the display. I prefer that. But a lot of people aren't like me. And it's good to have options. I'm not saying it's bad that the Taycan exists. It's just like I don't spend much time talking about it and I don't really have a need to go and drive it because I feel like it's just Porsche saying we know how to make an electric car. But they're not really proving that EVs can be more compelling or can replace gas engines because the general public consensus we've reached right now is electric cars, yeah, okay, they can go on decent distances and you can charge them and stuff, but they're not going to replace my gas car because my gas car is way cheaper and can go way further. So the Taycan doesn't help combat the two most important things with switching people to electric, which is range and price. Terrible range, terrible price. I mean, value is a different discussion. For the car you get out of the Taycan, to many people, I'm sure the value is there because it's high quality and it's great materials and there's lots of customization options. And to a certain demographic, the Taycan is probably very appealing. But in my opinion, it just doesn't make that big a difference. We want to hear how Apple is doomed because of no high refresh rate. Oh, right. No 120 hertz. Apple stock dropping to 0. Let's see. Pack it up, Carboy. $25,000 car in 3 years. Yeah, they talked about that. I'm excited for that. Yeah, Tesla, I think, is showcasing the future of automobiles, whereas Porsche is just saying, yeah, we can do that. We know how to do that. Hey, Drew, how's Louise? She's good. She's happy. She's just working. She wants to be done working, which she will be in about 20 minutes, and then she can take the rest of the day off. I do. Remember when John posted those screenshots and everyone thought 120 hertz was confirmed? Good times. Good times. Let's see. Let me just trade in my $100,000 S for a $160,000 Porsche that goes less distance, right? I like my Y. I've been getting on well with charging at home. Haven't seen a supercharger in a while now. Yeah, that's probably most people. The Buick sponsor was probably his most disliked video. Yeah, probably is. Like, I think a lot of people were quick to defend him, just being like, hey, I mean, YouTubers got to make money and stuff. But, like, the truth is, the reason I think Marquez got so much backlash for that Buick video was because it was so different from what he normally does. It was just so, like, we know him as the Tesla guy, and Tesla is all about killing the internal combustion engine and getting away from that. And that video was just so the opposite way. It felt so scripted, and it just felt so disingenuine. And like Kevin O'Leary said when he talked to Marquez, like, that was, Kevin O'Leary collabed with Marquez one time and said that the great thing about Marquez is that he's very honest and he's very straight up and he's very just to the point and very truthful. And Kevin said people can smell BS from a mile away. And I think there was a lot of BS being smelt at that video. They were like, Marquez, you don't care about this car. We know you don't care about this car. So doing videos strictly, the entire video, not just, this video is sponsored by NordVPN. That's one thing, because you click for certain thing and then at the end there's a little sponsored ad read. That's one type of ad. But when the whole video, start to end, is pretty much just an ad, that's when people are like, that's not what we subscribed for. We don't want to see more of this. So they dislike. I get it. Like, yeah, would he review a Ford F450? Some people, probably be like, okay, but it's like if Drew took a sponsored video from Samsung or OnePlus, which he wouldn't. Yeah, it would just throw everybody off if I just did a whole video a sponsored video talking about OnePlus and how great they are. That's why everyone's getting mad at LT sponsored reviews. Yeah, that's a little different, I think. When the entire review is sponsored, yeah, that makes it very hard to trust. That makes it kind of hard to recommend. Especially when they're like, MacBook Pro sucks. This video is sponsored by NVIDIA. I saw those a few times. Yeah, Linus Tech Tips, I think is what you mean. That video was boring and uninteresting. I forgot everything about that car. I did too. All I remembered was that people were mad. And I think he probably took it to heart. He probably saw people's response to that video. Well, I think he said something on Twitter like, would it have been different if it was NordVPN? And I was like, it would be different if the entire video was just for NordVPN and nothing else. Imagine if Marquez just uploaded a video that was literally about nothing else but NordVPN and it was sponsored and there was no other subject at hand. Yeah, that's when people would be like, I don't need just ads in my subscription feed. Here's my thoughts on the iPhone 12 mini. Sponsored ad break on the Surface Duo. Before we talk about the iPhone 12 mini, allow me to talk about the Microsoft Surface Duo. For the low price of $1,400, you can get this amazing piece of hardware that will crash on the first day you open it. Yeah, I'll just become a part of Pixel Team. I technically was when they sent me the Pixel phones. I was by definition on Team Pixel. People won't put anything Apple puts out. Neither will I. Just like I didn't get the Solo Loop. But people will do the same thing with Samsung. They'll do the same thing with Microsoft. Doesn't matter how bad the product is. Do you think the 12 Pro will sell out in minutes like the iPhone 10? I think it will be like the iPhone 10, not because the demand is high, but because the supply is low. It sounds like mass production has started incredibly late with the iPhones this year, which means that they're not going to have a massive stockpile of them like they did in previous years. And because of that, I expect ship dates to slip. It kind of depends on the definition of sell out. To be fair, like some people define sell out as in like what happened with the OnePlus 8 Pro, where a bunch of people bought it and then you just couldn't buy it anymore. Why did that just start playing? That's creepy. iPad being weird all of a sudden. Just started playing a video on Twitter. There's a ghost in here, I think. That's kind of creepy. Anyway, Ghost. Be sure to subscribe with Twitch Prime. Krista, thank you for the 100 bits. What is worse, Surface Duo or Pixel Slate? Great question. I think I'll have to say the Duo simply because it's more expensive. When things are like really poorly made and then they're not good at being anything, I typically just default to which one costs more. So I think I'll say the Surface Duo. But I've also used the Duo more recently. Maybe if I reused the Pixel Slate now, I would be like, oh, you know what? Actually, this is pretty bad. You could make the argument, at least the Duo was trying to be original. The Duo wasn't even original. It was literally just a tablet, and it couldn't get that right. So maybe, but it is a lot cheaper. So, I don't know. Was the processor in the Duo as old as the processor in the Surface is in the Pixel Slate? I knew the Pixel Slate was laggy and stuff, but I felt like the hardware in it was somewhat newer, whereas the Surface Duo was literally using like 2-year-old processing power. Let's see. Anyway, what I was saying earlier was the OnePlus 8 Pro sold out to the point that you couldn't buy it, whereas Apple didn't do that with the iPhone 10. Even when the ship dates were slipping, you could still order one. It would just take you a month or two sometimes to actually get it. So deliveries would slip back, but it wouldn't be unavailable. I don't think that'll happen this year. I don't think you'll be able to buy an iPhone a certain amount of times to the point that Apple just says, nope, we don't have them. We're sold out. But typically when people say sold out with iPhones, they're referring to the ship date slipping back really, really far. So, yeah, I think that will happen simply because there's a very low supply of iPhones this year. So, I still think you'll have an easy time getting your hands on one. Like, if you're the type of person to refresh the Apple Store the morning that the site goes live and you're going to pre-order one within the first minute, you'll still get one on launch day. Typically, I've pre-ordered iPhones for the past 4 years now, and typically anybody who orders one, if they're refreshing the site, if you order one within like the first 15 to 20 minutes, you're still pretty much guaranteed to get one on launch day. But if you're 30 minutes to an hour late, maybe you'll get it on the second batch, the second week. And if you're an hour to 2 hours late, sometimes further. But it just depends. It kind of varies a lot. I mean, sometimes with certain iPhones, I've seen it stay available for launch day for hours at a time. Just depends on the supply. Last year, they had a really, really good supply build-up of iPhone 11s before pre-orders went up. So pretty much anyone who ordered within the first couple hours got one on launch day. But this year, I think they're not going to have as many as usual. Anything stand out for you in the Series 6 so far? Pretty much just the red. It's really just a finish thing. If I could have traded in my stainless steel Series 4 for a red Series 4, I probably would have done that. I can't say blood oxygen has been super useful. I mean, I opened the app just a few times just to be like, okay, it's still there. But I haven't had a need for the compass. Always on display hasn't been super useful either. So I stand by what I said about the Series 6 being very like, this is the smallest upgrade year over year. And I don't think you should shell out more money if you already have a 4 or 5. If you have a 3, sure. But if you're on a 3, I would heavily recommend considering the SE, which in my opinion is a way better deal. But if you got the disposable income and you want a red or a blue Apple Watch, I mean, it's your money. You can do what you want with it. Do you measure your blood oxygen to look for signs of COVID? No. You really shouldn't trust it for that type of thing. Raphael, thank you for the 100 bits. You're an Apple sheep, but are the most honest YouTuber I know. Oh, that's good. There's a lot of honest YouTubers out there, but thank you. No difference in battery life? No, but that's a good thing because Always On Display has been on for me for the past couple days. I just turned it off while we were streaming. Maybe I should turn it back on for the sake of the review. But my first full day with the Series 6 was yesterday, and I ended the day at like 65%, which is typically what my Series 4 ends with, so pretty much the exact same battery life as before. That's with the display being on all day, which is pretty good. So, always on, going back on. What I don't like is that there's so many always on modes to the Apple Watch. It's not actually on, it just turns into, like, what I mean is, like, if you're in an app or something, like settings, for example, then it just blurs out the settings app and then defaults to this like basic watch face where it just displays the time and it's a little blurry in the background. And I don't really care for that. I'd rather just the display stay where it left off, which I guess there's settings that do that, but you can do that on the 4 as well. So battery life is the same. I would say, yeah, that'd be a great health feature, Mike. You can check the Are You Alive app. You open it up and it says, yes, you are still alive. The good news is that with WatchOS 7, you don't need to wake the watch first to interact with it. But I do, because it defaults, this is WatchOS 7, and if I'm in an app or something, and now it defaults back to the watch face. Hold on. If I turn it away, it blurs everything. So I have to tap it before I can interact. No, I didn't get cellular because I'm at home most of the day. Why would I get cellular on a watch? I barely use cellular on my phone at this point. I have a Series 4 since June. It's been great and fast, and I don't see myself upgrading until the next some kind of redesign. I agree. I can't read your name. 2003, whatever your name is. I agree that's probably the best case scenario. If you have a Series 4, just keep it until there's some type of big redesign. What if it says I'm not alive, but I can still see it? Then the app is wrong, clearly. Or you're a ghost, and maybe you touched my iPad a minute ago and got it to start playing video. Do you think a dual screen case for iPhone would be useful? No. It would be... It would be better than the Surface Duo, but I wouldn't get it myself. I don't think we need dual display devices, but I'm not against companies selling that as an accessory if they want. Certain people I've seen have interest in dual displays and having two apps open at once. I don't see the point, but in watchOS 6, you had to wake the display before you could swipe to get notification or control center, or even press the crown to go home. So you're saying now I can just swipe up. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. That's a little better, but it's not exactly what I was hoping for when I'm using like. So what Mike is saying is that when the display is off like this, you can still swipe up instead of before when it was all the way off, you would have to tap it and then swipe up. So it's improved a little bit, but the truth is when you're in an app or something and you turn away, it'll still gray out. You have to tap it before you can do something with it. So it's not exactly always on, but it's better. The most important question, when will the Apple TV get a redesign? Probably never. Remember when people were saying that there would be a new Apple TV in March? Good times, good times. Do you think Apple's going to make a new type of product like the iPad because of all their existing products peaking? Not. I think the next big category is probably just the glasses. I can't see anything else other than that, but 10 bits from Mike. I don't know what to do with these. Hope your Friday goes well. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the dime. We'll see you soon. But that's good. You can tap the complication. So now if the always on display mode is activated and you tap one of them. No, it didn't. It didn't work. Y'all are lying. Y'all are tripping me. So the display's off. I'm tapping the messages complication. Oh, I just had to press it harder. Okay, it does work. It just didn't work that one time. The first, you gotta really tap with prominence, I guess. Drew gotta get strong with Fitness Plus. That's a great word. Strong. What about a VR headset? Not likely. I don't think Apple sees much of a future in that. They had VR headset support with the Mac, and then that didn't go anywhere. I think Apple sees a huge potential with AR glasses, but not so much VR. Do you think there will be an Apple TV-sized Mac Mini? Maybe? I don't know. Why is the Mac Mini the size of it is? Is it mostly for cooling reasons? And if they put a power efficient enough, cool enough Apple Silicon chip on the inside, could they shrink it down smaller? That just wouldn't be great for I/O, in my opinion. The back would be so crowded with ports. I don't know. Let's see. Mac Mini Mini. Oh, people are saying the developer kit was mostly empty space. Really, that's interesting. So maybe they can shrink the Mac Mini to be even smaller. Mac Mini Mini. Yeah, they could. Basically, weren't there those old. Basically, what a Chromecast is. Like the little HDMI. It looks like a thumb drive, except with an HDMI port. And you can fit a whole computer on that now, like with Linux or Raspberry Pi. If Apple did that with Mac OS, you could just plug in to a monitor and just have very basic Mac OS with Apple Silicon in it. It wouldn't be super powerful. Mac Nano. Ooh, I like that idea. This is probably not going to happen, but that would be cool. If you could just buy a cheap, tiny little Mac that plugged into a monitor. You had to provide Bluetooth keyboard and mouse yourself. That would be kind of interesting. I hope they do something like that. Hopefully it'd be pretty cheap. I imagine the performance wouldn't be great. Obviously, it would not be a gaming machine of any kind, and it would probably not even be very good at video editing and that kind of thing. But for the basics, for someone who just uses a Mac for like Safari, messages, email, real basic stuff. Apple's Safari book, instead of Chromebook, it's a Safari, The Mac Neuralink, you are the Macintosh. You saw the 8th gen iPad $30 off on Amazon. I saw that too. That thing goes on sale on Amazon like every other day now, I think. So you can get the 20-watt USB-C charge brick, an iPad with an A12 chip, and all that for $300. That's a pretty dang good deal. I mean, the iPad design is old, but the processor on the inside's good, and the charge brick you get with it is a pretty sweet gig. It's kind of funny that they are removing the charge bricks on iPhones and watches, but the iPads are actually getting better charge bricks. Oh, and you could AirPlay to it as well. Yeah, that would be sweet. What are some new leaks that I have? I'm not a leaker. I don't have any leaks myself. The newest ones I read today that other leakers were talking about was the iPhone 12 mini, and the next Apple event is on October 13th. But I did a whole video on that. There's not much I keep to myself. If there's leaks, for one, I don't have sources or anything, so there's nothing exclusive to me. But do you think allowing to install Windows 10 on an iPad would be a good idea? Probably not. Just from my own experiences with Windows 10 and how frustrated I've gotten with third-party hardware with Microsoft software, I don't think it would go very well. So I would say, bad idea. If you want, you can become a leaker. I don't want to be a leaker. It sounds awful and stressful. I think that's my Twitter bio, actually. If you have information about upcoming products, keep it to yourself. I don't care. Yeah. I've been contacted by people who claim to be insiders, but half the stuff, or more than half the stuff they told me ended up being wrong. So I don't want to be the guy that has to. If you brand yourself as a leaker, you have to constantly get bombarded with info that is fake. Most of it's fake, and some of it's true, but you can't tell what's true and what's fake. It doesn't sound fun. It's also not that interesting, in my opinion, to just be the guy that's like, this will happen, believe me, you must believe me. I would much rather be the guy that just speculates and say, maybe this will happen, maybe this will happen, and here's what leakers are saying, but here's what I think will happen. Like, that's more fun, in my opinion. So I don't want to be a leaker. It doesn't sound interesting. What is your theory on why Apple doesn't send you review units? There are lots of people Apple doesn't send review units to. For one, I'm a much smaller channel than all the channels that get review units, and I'm much younger than all the people that get review units. You typically have to have some kind of pre-established relationship with Apple from prior events, or people. You have to have contacts at Apple to get that kind of thing, and I don't have any contacts. I know people who do, but from what I talked to John Morrison. He gets stuff early, and he has contacts at Apple, and he has told me basically that they reached out to him. You don't go to Apple, they come to you. So if they want to give you stuff, they'll let you know, but there's nothing you can do on your end to make it happen. But there's channels much, much bigger than me that still don't get stuff sent to Apple. If you do get it, then great, but if you don't, then that's the default. Let's see. Yeah, I don't want the pressure of being a leaker. No, thank you. If you have information on upcoming products, keep it to yourself. If anything, we need less leakers, because I feel like there's way too many these days, and there's too much drama between all of them. He said this, she said this, and this person gets mad at this. Hey, you weren't supposed to tweet that. But, that was mine. That was my leak, and there's too many. If anything, we should cut the number of leakers we have right now in half. Just go back to having 3 or 4 instead of like 50. Feels like there's like 50 different people right now. But it's Apple, and people want clicks, so they'll make stuff up even if it's not true. So it's a big mess. Oh well. Yeah, the amount of leakers we've had has made things more confusing. You can't just have one leak come out. Oh, it sounds like they're not doing 120 hertz. No, they might do 120 hertz. That's serious it is. My source said 120 hertz. And then actually, no, they didn't. It's not happening. It's like, thanks. That was really insightful. Appreciate that. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.